All right, lesson 16. Manipura Chakra. Manipura means the city of jewels. It is called the city of jewels because Manipura Chakra is the chakra that stands out among all the other chakras because of its constant emission of energy. Manipura Chakra is like the sun in the solar system. Manipura Chakra is like a power plant that provides energy to the city. Manipura Chakra is like a boiler in your house to warm, to heat your house. No surprise that we call this the fire center. That is the element associated with this chakra. But there is confusion in spiritual circles about the concept that I described here, and I never updated, because this is also not correct, the first paragraph, where I say that Manipura in Japan is called Hara, in Korea it's called Danjon, and in China it's called Tanjen. Throughout the years, having practiced martial arts for many years, read books about yoga, martial arts, spoken with martial artists and Buddhists, I always notice that when they talk about Danjon, one will say, it's here. Another one will say, it's your navel. And another one will say, it's here. So I started to scratch my head and I thought, where is it really? And what is the answer to that? It's everywhere. Because Manipura Chakra is one chakra, but it's not Danjon. It's part of Danjon. When you read the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and we will come across these texts, it is constantly mentioning the digestive fire or the digestive power. And it is not talking about digestion, it's talking about vital energy. Danjon. It's about the three lowest chakras. The level of energy in most people, unconditioned people, is not high enough to form what we know as Danjon, or the digestive fire. So there is energy in each of the chakras, but the phenomenon of Danjon doesn't occur. The reason why Buddhists, martial artists, and yoga practitioners talk about this all the time is because this energy is super important. It's what fuels our development. It is what allows spirituality to manifest. So this energy is very important. But it's not only Manipura Chakra. When you start practicing yoga, sattva occurs, and as a result of sattva, the third channel opens up. There is a snake sleeping at the bottom of the spine. It doesn't wake up in normal people. But the practice of yoga leads to harmony that brings about the existence of Sushumna Nadi, the third channel. There's Ida, responsible for Shiva going down. There's Pingala, responsible for Shakti going up. That is how most people function. But in us, in yoga practitioners, Sushumna Nadi opens, allowing the snake to wake up and rise up. What happens in your belly is this. As a result of the vitalization of Muladhara Chakra, Apana Prana is generated. Apana Prana is the vital energy of Muladhara Chakra. What does vital energy do? It expands and it rises up. It rises up and it fuses with Samana Prana of the chakra above it. This energy together keeps expanding and rising. That is the Kundalini effect. So the next step is that it will fuse with the generic prana of Manipura chakra. This is why they call this the digestive fire. It is your whole belly, not just one chakra. Those three chakras become one big ball of energy. That is why you will have a really good digestion if you practice yoga regularly. People who practice yoga regularly, they have no problem with digestion. Digestion is very efficient. It absorbs all the nutrients from the food, while unconditioned people, they throw a lot of the nutrients with their stool into the toilet because their digestion is not so efficient. But this phenomenon, that is what Buddhists and martial artists and yogis are talking about. It's just nobody really knows exactly how it works. Because everybody thinks it's Manipura chakra, but it is all three chakras becoming one. Without this phenomenon, spirituality is simply not possible. The martial arts, traditional martial arts, like yoga, is a systematic way to vitalize the body, the chakras. And if you look at the nature of traditional martial arts, it's designed to lead to spirituality. Just like yoga is. It's just a little bit different. That's why you have Danhak and Kuksando and Sonmudo, all martial arts that are related to Buddhist practice. So the subtle element is fire. The subtle vehicle of action is movement. Any kind of movement. Any kind of movement is good for the health of Manipura chakra. So exercising is important. You can practice yoga every day and it is good, and you can meditate every day and it is good, but you're still living in a physical body, and that physical body needs maintenance. That, at least for me, I love asana, I do it almost every day. I need a little bit more. So I make long walks and sometimes I cycle. I just need that extra kick, and I think most people recognize that. Because of Manipura chakra. Exercising, Manipura chakra is responsible for everything that we do. Everything that we do physically, but also every reaction. Physical reaction, verbal reaction, or even just a thought. It all originates with energy in Manipura chakra. So all the troubles that we experience, all the conflict, all the emotions, starts with energy in Manipura chakra. So people with lots of stress, they have stomach problems, stomach ulcers, digestion problems, and what have you. To deal with that, to deal with the energy in Manipura chakra, we already talked about this, a playful approach in daily life. You start applying that in your yoga exercises, your asanas, but you integrate that into your daily life. Relax a little bit. Don't be so uptight anymore when dealing with difficult people. Try to not react with emotion anymore. Try to have a little bit more sense of humor. It's just much healthier to function in that way. Not easy, but you can if you decide to integrate that into your life. Manipura chakra is the location of ambition, the will to conquer, fighting, combativeness, but it's also the location of the physical will. And one of the goals of yoga, and also in traditional martial arts, is to strengthen the will, but to also combine it with the mental will in Ajna chakra. Mind control leads to the development of the mental will. And why is this important? If you only have physical will of Manipura chakra, you become an elephant in a china store. Most people are like that. They have uncontrolled greed and desires, and they just get what they want. And along the way, they create a lot of conflict and they hurt a lot of people. That is pure physical will. If you combine that with the mental will, you have total control. And you can pursue your goals in a much more measured way, in a much more harmonious way. We talked a little bit about when we talked about non-desire, we talked about the difference between wanting and wishing. If you develop mental will, mental strength, resulting in willpower, in combination with physical willpower, you have the power or the foundation to realize your wishes, your dreams. As a yogi, functioning in the crown chakra, you simply know that that is not something that you can do instantly. People who are functioning on physical will only, Manipura chakra, they want everything yesterday. Anything that they want immediately. I'm saying a little bit sarcastically, they want everything yesterday, because they want it immediately. But as a yogi, you simply know, you have insight, you understand that whatever it is that you want, there is a process. All you need to do is to be patient and go through the steps, and you can achieve big things in life without harming and hurting other people in that way. And patience and courage and control is all part of the higher levels of your consciousness. It's all part of yoga. So again, also, I repeat that spirituality is not a luxury like many people think. Spirituality is crucial in our development. So to deal with the boundless energy in this chakra, we need to have a playful attitude. Very interesting, you see on page 2, there is this illustration from the Roman Empire. The Romans had an expression that said, festina lente. And it is a funny expression if you don't understand what it means in practice. Because it's a total contradiction. And you see that contradiction in the illustration. There is a snail, which is very, very slow. And there is a hare, which is super fast. It means hurry slowly. So haste just leads to blocked energy. Haste leads to stress. It leads to unhappiness of you and the people that you are dealing with. So hurry slowly means relax. Just everything that you do always takes time to be done, to be accomplished. So respect that. Because it will just turn against you if you have no patience, if you do everything in a hurry. People who do everything in a hurry are unpleasant people. They are stressed and they are unfriendly, they are nasty. You feel their tension, their strain, their stress, and it is not nice to be with these kind of people. So playful attitude, and try to avoid stress, try to avoid being in a hurry. We talked about that also a little bit in lesson 1 at the end of the subject of non-violence, when we talked about being late, the habit of being late, which is just an avoidable cause of stress. You see that all forms of active sport are good to activate the chakra and to have a healthy production of energy that is canalized in this way. People with lots of energy who do not exercise, they often find that energy starts to work against them. They become restless, they become nervous, they become frustrated. And when you exercise, you canalize that energy and you feel at ease. And that then allows you to better use that source of energy in a more constructive way. The liver and the spleen are secondary chakras of Manipura chakra. They are, we call them also fire organs. The liver is called Surya chakra, and the spleen is called Chandra chakra. So the sun and the moon, which indicates that they are opposite. The liver is responsible for getting rid of excessive or excess heat in the body. A good example of this is when you drink alcohol, especially if you drink alcohol a little bit much. You typically wake up between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, sweating. Your liver is getting rid of an excess of calories around that time. The spleen has the opposite function when you are lacking energy. It will draw energy. Instead of emitting energy through the liver, you draw energy to support whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. And if you have exercised, you probably have felt the activity of the spleen, especially when you have a meal and you then engage in exercising. When I was young, for example, I was a member of a track and field, which is athletics, and we had a training starting at 7 o'clock, but at home we had dinner at 6 o'clock. So I would have dinner, and jump on my bicycle, go to the sports club, and 7 o'clock start with the training, often leading to the pinch in your spleen. Why is this happening? Because when your stomach is digesting food, that is a big activity that requires lots of energy. It's one of the major activities that we perform. That's why you are always advised to take 2-3 hours after a meal before you exercise. But now you are doing two major activities. Your body is still busy digesting the food, but you also started with another major activity, which is exercising. And this is too much for the body to handle, so your spleen tries to draw energy and provide that to the processes that you are in to support those processes where you are lacking energy. Trouble in this chakra can be avoided by a sensible and healthy ambition, playful attitude, remember. The color yellow is helpful in this sense. I forgot to mention, the subtle element is fire, and then I got distracted by a train of thought and didn't finish the rest. Subtle vehicle of action is movement. The subtle organ of perception is sight. Eyesight. The subtle energy is prana, just prana. We had apana prana for the Muladhara chakra. We had samana prana for Svadhisthana chakra. Here it's called just prana. Prana is vital energy. This is the generic prana. That is the foundation for all the other energies that we have in the other chakras. The color yellow is associated with this chakra and the mantra Ram. You see in that paragraph I was just mentioning at the bottom of page 2 that it is important to use cold and heat very moderately. And long, vigorous walks on a regular basis are of great therapeutic value for this energy center. The developmental stage of this chakra is between 15 and 21, and that is typically the age that we experience puberty. It is the time that we stand up for ourselves, we become rebellious. It is the time that we establish our identity and defend that identity, whatever that is. We disagree with our parents, we disagree with our teachers, we disagree with politicians, we disagree with everybody. We become stubborn, temporarily stubborn and obstinate. It is the time ideal for military service for boys, for men. An army needs men that are manifesting their strength. It is particularly in this age group that boys go. That is why you see boys, when there are riots, where people throw stones and fight against the police, it's this age group that does that. It is related to your development, especially with boys, mostly. Girls have other ways of expressing themselves, but also go through this puberty stage. I missed something here that is important. Page 2 at the top. A person who is in control of this chakra can keep their cool under serious, distressful circumstances and has very sharp eyesight. People who are in control of Manipura chakra do not panic so easily like most people do. This is very important because every time when there is a disaster and there are many victims, it is always because of panicking. So sometimes you read about a fire in a nightclub, in a discotheque, in a movie theater, Those are big buildings containing lots of people with a small exit and entrance. So the moment something goes wrong, most people panic and they don't know what they're doing anymore. They will just start running around, trying to get out, and often go in the wrong direction. But while doing so, they bump into other people. People on the floor are being stepped upon, and that is how many people die. And we have a very good example of this phenomenon, which is in Itaewon last year, where 150 people died, mostly because of panicking. When you are in control of Manipura Chakra, do you understand what panicking means? Have you experienced panicking, really panicking? You can't think anymore. You can't control your action anymore. When you're in control of Manipura Chakra, you stay calm. You stay calm and you keep oversight. And you say, oh my goodness, there is something happening. What can I do? And you are looking around. Before you do something, before you start running or crazy acting, you first determine what you can do. Where do I need to go? Where's the exit? Ah, there? Okay. Then you calmly go there. And maybe on your way you help some other people get there. But the majority of the people panic. And they will be in your way. Yeah? So very, very consequential to gain control over Manipura Chakra. And it starts with those fire exercises that we do. Every time we do them, I keep telling you, stay calm and controlled. This is all about attitude. Maintain a calm attitude while you subject yourself to this strain, to this difficult asana. And when you do that in your asana, it will become a natural part of how you act in the outside world in daily life situations. Questions? My oldest brother, without yoga, was in control of Manipura Chakra. He was not disturbed by anything. I'm from a big family, 7 children. There's always something going on. He was always cool, always calm. Not as an act, but that is, and still today, in his 60s, that is just his nature. Always done a lot of sport, no yoga, a lot of sport. So that probably led to him being able to control Manipura Chakra. All right, let's have a short break.